Welcome to the Canadian Virtual CPA PD Day. My name is Marc Belaiche. I'm president of TorontoJobs.ca. Been having some great networking opportunities with people. The expo and the speakers have been great. So hopefully you've had a chance to enjoy the event today. And we still have half an hour left on the panel. I just want to give people a couple of minutes or just a minute here to just make sure that they are in the right spot, that the sessions just finished as well. So I just want to make sure that people got onto the panel okay. So I also am waiting for the thumbs up from Alex, and I just got that. So thanks to Alex for confirming sound and video are good. So we'll start in about 20 minutes or so. And by the way, there's about 10 minutes left at the end of this afterwards from the top of the hour to 10 minutes after. So you can have a chance to do some more networking and go into our expo and trade show area as well. So hopefully you made some connections. You've heard from some great speakers, and the next half hour is going to be jam-packed with lots of great stuff talking CPA talk. So here we go. Let's get rolling. So Tosin Akinwekomi is CPA CMA Senior Director of Business Management, Contact Centers, CIBC. Thanks very much, Tosin, for being here. And if you can kick things off, maybe talk a little bit about yourself, what you do, a little bit about your role, and perhaps a little bit about your background as well.
Right. Thanks, Marc. Great to be here. Tosin Akinwekomi, like you said. My role is essentially supporting the leader of the contact centers at CIBC. Think of me as a chief of staff, manage our reporting, performance reporting to the board, to other leaders in the bank. And also ensure that we have strategic conversations. And so making sure we prepare the agendas for those type of conversations and having the right people at the table for those conversations. Secondly, I also lead the communications team for contact centers. So all the communications that go to our 4,000 employees, my team also does that. And that's what I do at CIBC today. And in terms of my background and experience, essentially started in finance and accounting, moved into audit, then essentially moved into consulting, and from consulting and strategy and transformation work, sort of found my way in a business management role for the first time a few months ago. So that's me.
Excellent. Well, thanks for being here. Basa Giovanni is CPA CMA Director of Finance at SEMEX Canada. Welcome, Besa.
Well, thank you very much, Marc, for having me, and good afternoon, everyone. It's nice to be here, and a little bit about where I work right now. I work for SEMEX Canada. It's a company in agriculture industry, very interesting. Actually, I'm relatively new with the organization. Prior to that, I have worked in different industries, including both profit and not-for-profit sector. As a CPA, I think we got that being curious and exploring a little bit, and it's good because it gives us that exposure towards different industries, and that's exactly what I wanted. So I have worked in financial industry as a director of finance at Futurepreneur. Prior to that, I have worked in mental health, holding the same position, again, non-for-profit. And the most interesting part, I have worked also for United Nations, which is a bigger international organization. And being curious, as I said, and I'm a CPA CMA, with due respect to all other CGAs and CAs. But it was like, for me, has been more having that experience in the field. I have worked as well for Saint-Gobain, a manufacturing company, $70 billion organization. Their motto is everything is made by Saint-Gobain. They operate in 70 countries. So that was like a second school for me. And that's where I got my CPA, CMA experience, practical experience, as we all know, very important. And it was like field industry. So coming back to nowadays, I work for CEMEX, agriculture, never worked before. So I thought, why not? Let's try it. I hold a position of director / CFO. Right now, since it is a not-for-profit, I would say medium-sized organization, I'm putting many hats in terms of having many projects running at the same time, including an ERP AX 2012 and managing the financial reporting. I have people reporting to me, and also making sure that the way that the organization works is based on an alliance of two other organizations called EastGen and CIQ, which covers pretty much all Canada, and also has a nice exposure globally as well. So it has been a very interesting run so far, and I'm grateful to be here and answer any questions or network. It's my first time, by the way, so I'll just I'm also curious how things will go, but I hope for the best. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Besa. Yeah, and if you have any questions for anybody on the panel, feel free to put them in the event or in the stage area, and I'll be happy to moderate. Daniel Steinfeld is CPA CA co-founder on the Block Realty. Welcome, Daniel. Nice to see you again. Perhaps you can give viewers a little bit about yourself, a little bit more about the growth also of your firm too, which has been great, and
Sure.
about your background. Yeah.
Sure. So right now, yeah, I'm a broker owner or co-founder at On the Block, which is it is a traditional real estate brokerage as well as On the Block Auctions, which is the only Canadian auction platform for real estate, which is kind of a unique venture that we started here to be a transparent way to sell real estate in what is, for anybody who's trying to buy or sell a home anywhere near Toronto or really Ontario, it's a tough go. And so we built a process that makes the whole process transparent and actually lets people see what they're paying for a home, which has been a really interesting new venture for us. And yeah, the growth has been huge. We've grown fivefold just over the course of the pandemic in terms of the amount of people who work here. We did make a bit of a misstep when it came to the timing of building a new office, which was about a month and a half before the pandemic started. So we're back in our bricks and mortar right now, but yeah, so that's been a really fun run for us for the last 4 or 5 years. And prior to that, I was Chief Financial Officer of the Toronto Argonauts. So I've got about 10 years of experience in a very different field, running the sales and finance teams of a professional football team in Toronto, which was a really interesting and knowledge-packed experience for me. And then prior to that, I got my start in public accounting. So PricewaterhouseCoopers, I worked where I got my CA. I was in audit as well. And right now, I just keep my finger on the pulse of finance by running the finance functions here, but also I sit on the finance committee for the Toronto Real Estate Board, and still do a bit of consulting for some of the old organizations that I did some work with when I was in consulting as well. So also excited to be here, also happy to answer any questions and network with everybody and anybody.
Terrific. Thanks very much, Daniel. Lana Morgan is CPA CMA Director of Finance, Accounting and Reporting, Canadian Credit Union Association. Welcome, Lana, and thanks for being here. And same with you, if you can give everybody a quick intro as to your background.
Sure. Thank you so much, Marc, for having me. I'm always excited to join this panel and give my perspective and overview of the industries and help to bring the awareness of what's happening in the CPA community and what's happening in my life and professionally and personally. So as Marc said, I'm CPA CMA. I've been building my career for quite a long time. I don't even remember how long it's been. So this is how old I am. And I started as a senior financial analyst. This is when I got my CPA CMA designation. And I built my way up by working in a large organization such as Suzuki, Airbus, Nexans, and right now I'm at Canadian Credit Union Association. Is non-for-profit organization with the part of the profit where we introduce the virtual and in-person training for the members of the credit union. So technically speaking, the organization that I'm with right now we're covering and governing and providing services for all the credit unions across Canada. So it's a large organization with a lot of members, and so far it's been a pretty interesting ride, because every month something comes up, and this is the life of the finance people. Pretty much every day there's a fun, and every day something new comes up. And interesting enough, during the pandemic, we got onto a lot of projects, and interesting enough how the entire organization got together and got it going. And we're looking forward to going back to the office and see people in person. But so far, the virtual opportunity that been built before brings us to close to each other by looking at the window, Zoom window every day. So, and I just want to thank Marc again for having me here. I'm honored, and I'm always happy to support such a great event.
Excellent. Well, thanks, Lana. So we have 3 CPA CMAs on the panel. We have 2 CPA CAs on the panel. We're about 8 or 9 years into the amalgamation, and eventually I believe we're going to be dropping the CMAs, CGAs, and CAs. I don't know, what, 2-3 more years or whatever, and everybody's going to be a CPA. So just curious, so open question to anybody. What do you like? What don't you like about the CPA? How has it helped you? Just very open-ended question as to how you feel overall about the CPA, things that could be done better, things that could be improved, and so on. And it's open to anybody.
I can start, Marc.
Sure, Lana.
So being CPA, CMA in this particular case, in my case, I feel it's a privilege. It's a privilege, and it also gives you the opportunity to meet absolutely fantastic people, being introduced to many organizations in many different industries, like manufacturing, like non-for-profit, and etc. And also it gives you that knowledge, that an acknowledgement of who you really are. What I like about being CPA is that, again, CPA, CMA provides us with necessary tools that we need to succeed in our careers. And at the same time, it's a great support from the head office. I would call it head office for CPAs across Canada. To be honest with you, sometimes I feel that as a CPA, we should be more involved in the lives of the CPAs, and not only. And there should be two-way street communication with the CPA board. This is the only part that I feel that I'm lacking in this particular moment. Just to give you an example, I was trying to find how I can, provide my feedback about what CPA can do. And unfortunately, I was not very successful. I'm still searching. So if anybody knows the trick, I would be more than happy to, use it. When it comes to the amalgamation of the CPA and CMA, CGAs and CAs, I'm extremely happy that, we're going to be one CPA members. So it's not going to bring it's not going to divide us in any manner, because we're all CPAs, we're all professionals, we all know what we're doing. We're pretty much went through pretty much the same school, pretty much the same experience. And I feel that the new unification, all the main members across Canada into CPA, it's a fantastic move. So I fully support it. So that's my point of view from my standpoint of view.
Oh, that's great, Lana. Anyone want to add anything, comment, disagree with anything Lana said?
No.
I can jump. Oh,
no, go ahead.
Sorry. Okay, I'll say that I think maybe when the amalgamation first happened, there seemed to be a greater divide, and everybody had their personality and thoughts about what each of the designations represented. But I do feel, even though I've been a little bit more removed from practice since then, there's definitely been an appropriate blurring of the lines between everything that really, it leads to a logical, let's just drop the other letters anyway, right? So outside of any pride that anybody might have tied to that other set of letters, which they'll never take away what you feel about those letters, I do think that the experiences we've all had in whatever positions and roles we've held have led to unique experiences that are going to serve us well in our future positions, irrespective of what that initial designation might have been. So I think over the course of the last decade or whatever it's been, there's been enough of a coming together within the CPA that really, it logically leads to not distinguishing between one and the other anymore, in my opinion.
Tosin, did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, I think the move made sense from a marketing standpoint. You know, there isn't a product out there where there's multiple variations of the same thing and you're confused and picking who you want to go with, right? I think it's only CPAs that care about which version of CPA you are. Every other person out there looks at us as accountants, right? And so if you need some special care because you need somebody to sign off on your financials, you go to a firm, and that firm generally will have the right people to be able to do that. So I've always thought the separation really didn't make a lot of sense, and so I'm happy that the amalgamation happened. And I think it works well for our stakeholders, which is, for me, the most important. And to Lana's point, if you have feedback for CPA, I can maybe connect you. I'm on the emerging leaderboard for CPA Ontario, so maybe I can connect you to a few people that you can share your feedback with. I'm sure they will definitely be interested in hearing it.
I also would like to add something. I agree actually with my colleagues here, and the only thing probably I would mostly summarize it and give an example. I think the CPA has evolved during the years because it's been a long time now, like each of us here probably got their designation, but I had an opportunity 3-4 years ago to sit on the panel and be the judge for the new CPAs, and it seems that the new program has gotten the best of the old worlds, like CPAs, CGAs, and CAs. And it was a very nice combination of all the programs, which I think that everybody who is holding the designation either before, but even more nowadays, I think it's a privilege and it's very honored designation. And for all of us, it seems that at least in here has served us well. So, and the evolution is there for sure.
Terrific. Great conversation. What leadership challenges have any of you had during COVID, and how have you dealt with them?
I can start, Marc.
Yeah, go ahead, Lana.
I'm just going to be a pioneer today.
That's good. We are okay with that.
So as a leader, you're always looking for the best in people, and you're always, put this trust into people and their responsibilities and etc. I did have several challenges in my team because I do oversee a quite large team in my organization. And at the very beginning, I don't know, I don't want to sound really, micromanager, because I'm completely not micromanager. This is not how I define myself. But sometimes at the very, very beginning, and maybe towards the end, where everybody is like, hoping to get back to the office and see people in person, there is some, from a leadership perspective, from a management perspective, there's some lacking of the ownership of the responsibilities in certain aspects of the job. It's not applicable to every single person, but there are some examples of a particular lack of ownership and relaxed feedback. And me as a leader, you know, we're always evolving in our organization. We're always involved in multiple projects. So the time is an essence. And when it comes to timing, this is the part that me as a leadership, I feel that I need to build a better coaching and a training of my staff when it comes to the priorities, timing, and the ownership of the and proudness of their responsibilities of what people are holding on a day-to-day activities. So that's been my challenge, and the challenge is I'm gonna start with myself, because first of all I have to organize myself and maybe toughen up in certain areas of my leadership and management. But starting with me, and this is what I always do, I start with myself, look at the mirror and saying, okay, what would you do differently in order to achieve a certain path for your employees? Because your employees are as good as you are. Without your employees, you are just a manager, you just hold the title. So the first focus in my leadership approach is to look at people and take care of people, because this is the most precious, the most important part of each organization. So that's my stake and 5 cents to this conversation.
Perfect. Anyone else? Daniel? Yeah.
Definitely, I agree with that. I think for me, every time I've learned that when you hear the word challenge, especially in an environment like this, like challenges for CPAs especially are really opportunities. Like they turn into an opportunity to find the solution and to do something with it, especially as leaders. And when we were in audit, or if everybody started in something like audit, I mean, we really were trained to be looking for problems and just like looking for things and just reporting on that. But I think in doing that, especially in the beginning of my career, it really trains you to see things, not just look for things. And COVID has really been one of those examples where there's all kinds of challenges everywhere. The ability to be in the same place, the ability to share office space, to have real meetings, all that stuff. And so I think people who are equipped with this ability to see things like CPAs are, and like we've been trained to do that, for me, the opportunity was, how can we turn that into something that actually not just addresses the challenge for ourselves, but identifies that everyone else is having the same challenge, and use that as a way to build, in our case, our business. In the last year and a half, we've built a coaching business that's gone for the industry, where we've started a podcast where every week we're doing a podcast on helping people learn things about the industry because they're not able to go to in-person training. Everything we're doing is virtual. I mean, I'm the only one in our office right now, so I can yell really loud and I'm not going to bother anybody. So, but I think for me, the challenge in the initial part of everything is sort of identifying, okay, what's the issue and how can we turn this into something that will actually become a net gain over if there was no challenge to begin with in the first place. So the challenge really has equal to opportunity, and I think it does for a lot of CPAs.
Yeah, I think the points that both Lana and Daniel resonate. I think starting with yourself, there's a lot of opportunities that we're seeing. I think some of the challenges that I started to deal with immediately was just how you keep your employees engaged, right? How you make sure they feel like they're part of a team, and wasn't necessarily worried about the deliverables and the work, because professionals will be the professionals, and CPAs that are professionals will be professionals after COVID or pre-COVID. But how do you sort of feel like you're part of a team? And that's been, I think, the biggest challenge since the pandemic has started. And I think it will continue to be a challenge going forward, because as a result of the pandemic, a lot of companies have made operating model decisions around where they work and how they work. That are potentially a hybrid of working from home or going into the office, or permanently working remotely. Either of those two are more complex than what we used to do, which is go to the office, right? Hybrid or completely remote is more complex. And so I think the opportunity and the challenges will continue to be in front of us. And how do you keep people feeling like they're part of a team rather than a consultant or a contract worker when they've never met you, they've never seen you, they don't know what you sound like when you're walking down the hallway. All the different, you don't go out after work for drinks or food. And so all the things that keep you connected, that allows you to enjoy the work beyond the work, is become a real issue. And as a result, more people are reporting burnouts, more people are resigning. And so I think those challenges are probably here to stay for the next few years until we find the right balance for it. So it's like Daniel said, I still see it as an opportunity because I don't think we've not addressed it fully yet.
Yeah, for sure. Good points. So we have just a few minutes left. I want to circle back because Tosin works in a huge company, CIBC, and Daniel, you're more of an entrepreneur. I want to ask Daniel, how do you, you said you've had 5 times the growth in number of people. How do you manage that growth? And then Tosin, after that, maybe how do you manage like a big company where, there's so many people involved and so on. So I want to see if there's subtle differences between it. I know we only have 2 or 3 minutes left here. So maybe over to you first, Daniel.
Sure. I mean, it's a great segue from what Tosin was just saying, because the real secret formula for us has been the engagement. And really, as cliche as it sounds, we've built a family culture here where even though we're not necessarily sharing office space, there's actually people who work for us who I'm still yet to meet in person. And I'm sure that's the case with a lot of companies out there. But communication, because of the capabilities the world and technology has right now, whether it's through video or the phone or just even just technology aside, taking an interest in what people are looking for and what interests them, and actually really taking the time to listen to people, maybe more than we did when things were so mechanically going to the office, has really served us well in being able to not just build a relationship between us as recruiters and the people who join us, but among everybody with each other. And I can now comfortably sit back, and I was saying this with my wife, actually runs the company with me. She's not a CPA, so she's not here. But we were just talking about how this past weekend we were able to sit back and not deal with anybody because they've all built their own ecosystem of helping each other and really feeling that everybody fits and is part of a shared culture that really has made this company grow. So COVID or not, that is the secret sauce here for us, is just building that open door policy, that family feel. All those cliches are real things. They are really what help us grow and help everybody feel good and have kept things where, knock on wood, nobody's left. People have joined and nobody's left. So that's a good sign.
That's very good, yeah. And Tosin, large company, massive company.
No, I think that the challenges are the same. It's just the responses are not necessarily the same because, as a small company, I imagine Daniel can, if an issue's happening, can see it, can feel it, and can sort of pinpoint and get to it right away. And his leadership can be felt across all his team, right? All these soft components that you would have as a leader, your ability to connect with people, your ability to communicate tough news, your ability to tell people about great news. In a big corporation, your primary leader may not be able to do that, right? And so now you rely on, now we start to see how effective our leadership pipeline actually is, right? Because as leaders across the organization, regardless of what level you're at, as long as you're leading somebody, those same things apply, right? Everyone should be like Daniel for every employee in CIBC. But that's a hard thing to find because that talent, that skill set, we don't necessarily promote people for those type of things in big corporations. You promote them for what they can deliver, what they can do. And the softer things, over time, people either develop them or they don't. But from a large corporation standpoint, that's what you really focus on. To get the engagement going on, enable every level of leadership to be able to really engage with the employee and make them connect with the larger vision and larger goal of the organization. If you can do that well, whether you're big or small, it doesn't matter. When you don't do it well, then yeah, you see the issues that usually come up as a result of attrition, low employee engagement scores, and things of that nature.
Terrific. Thanks so much to each of you. We're out of time, but I wanted to thank you all on the panel for being on here. I want to thank everybody for being here at the Canadian Virtual CPA PD Day, the event presented by TorontoJobs.ca and TorontoEntrepreneurs.ca and powered by EventLogic with a K.ca. My name is Marc Belaiche, president of TorontoJobs.ca. I want to thank the panelists, Tosin, Akinwekomi, CPA CMA, Senior Director, Business Management Contact Center, CIBC, Basa Giovanni, CPA CMA, Director of Finance at SEMEX Canada, Daniel Steinfeld, CPA CA, co-founder On the Block Realty, and Lana Morgan, CPA CMA, Director of Finance, Accounting, and Reporting, Canadian Credit Union Association. I want to thank, again, our sponsors, TorontoJobs.ca. Happy to help out with any staffing needs that you might have. Email sales@TorontoJobs.ca for more information. TorontoEntrepreneurs.ca, looking to run a business, check out TorontoEntrepreneurs.ca for upcoming events. EventLogic with a K.ca. If there's an event you'd like to have done, please visit the website. For example, if you'd like to have a virtual event done, they can put it together for you. And Gahuza.com. It's a new recruiting platform. It's coming soon as well. And if you'd like to have your organization or services highlighted, there are speaker, sponsor, and exhibitor options available for upcoming events. Please check out EventLogic with a K.ca. We do have lots of upcoming events. Best Practices for Recruiting Staff webinar is coming up on September 17th. You can visit TorontoJobs.ca/news for more information. You can also subscribe to our TorontoJobs.ca YouTube channel, hundreds of videos on there on all kinds of different topics. And also join our LinkedIn groups that are specific for CPAs. There's Chartered Professional Accountants Canada, Toronto Chartered Professional Accountants, Halton Peel CPA Ontario Association, which I manage, and the Canadian Finance and Accounting Professionals LinkedIn group as well. And if there's anything I can help you out with, feel free to visit me on LinkedIn. Feel free to connect with me. And how did you like the event? Let us know. We'll send you a survey to complete within 24 hours of this event. And I want to thank all the speakers and the team, Alex, Rachel, Sandra, Sarah, Carla, and many more involved in putting today's event together. And we do tack on an extra 10 minutes at the end of the event here. So you still have some time to network through our speed networking area, visit our expo and more. And if you want a certificate of attendance, please email info@TorontoJobs.ca and we'll send you a certificate thereafter. So thanks again to each of you, and look forward to connecting further, and stay safe, of course. And we'll talk soon. Have a great afternoon.